Everyone knows that double-stack 1911s have developed a pedigree around the competition ranges across the world. Whether you're talking staccatos, atlases, MPAs, Nighthawks, or any of the other slew of double stacks out there, they all tend to fare very well in competitions and at the range in general. In fact, some would argue that they are the very best shooting pistols in the world, and in general, I would somewhat agree. If you're categorizing them in a group, I would say that the group of 2011s are at or among the top performers at speed shooting events. But if I were to narrow it down to a pistol that I feel shoots better and is purely meant for speed, the one that wears the crown is not of this world. Yes, friends, I'm talking, of course, about the Laugo Alien. Those of you that follow the channel have seen my review on the Alien, and you may have also seen reviews on the Staccato P, Staccato XC, and the Hayes Cobra. Of the three 2011s, the Hayes Custom is by far the best shooting and best built pistol. Furthermore, those of you that would be thinking right now about guns like the Atlas Erebus or any type of custom SVI that you'd argue is better, let me ease your minds by saying that you're wrong. The Hayes is just as good, if not better, than any $10,000 plus 2011 that you've ever heard of or shot. And don't take my word for it either. The mainline gun tubers are starting to take notice, and they've all reached the same conclusion. But this video isn't to argue which of the 2011s is better. It's to argue whether the Alien is. In my extensive experience shooting the 2011 platforms I mentioned, I have never come across a better shooting pistol than the Laugo Alien. After your first shots, you tend to come away a little confused. The recoil feels more stout than when you anticipated, yet you realize right away how accurate the pistol is. Then, as you start to get a feel for the gun, you start to really hit the throttle, and the faster you go, the better it handles. Where every aforementioned 2011 will have a smoother, slower, and softer cycle, the Alien comes across as brash and begging for speed. Due to the insanely low bore axis and the grip angle aligning your wrist with your arm, the entire shooting experience can be described as in line. And what I mean by that is, you feel kind of like you're shooting a laser beam. There's no muzzle flip, and whether you're rocking an optic or irons, the optic plate that's fixed to the frame does not reciprocate. Hence, your dot or your irons are constantly within focus, and you're picking up the target shot after shot effortlessly. There are also subtle features that continue to hint at the racing pedigree that the Alien was built with. For instance, reloading is faster too. Once the slide locks back on your final shot and you're ready to reload another mag, you get startled by the slide self-releasing into battery. At first, you may wonder whether you accidentally rode the slide release, but don't fret. This is actually a feature that Laugo figured would shed tenths of a second off your time. The magwell also helps guiding your mags in, but I must admit that the aggressive angle takes some getting used to. If you dry fire the triggers on the Alien versus any of the 2011s I mentioned, you will clearly declare that any one of them is better than that of the Alien. However, when you're firing live ammunition, it's a completely different story. For some reason, the Alien's trigger tends to be easier to anticipate and control. There's just enough of a first stage of travel before reaching and breaking through the wall. Then it's just a hair of movement to get the hammer to reset, and something about that direct plunger to sear mechanism of the Alien's trigger makes it very unique. I think it's because there's no linkage between the trigger shoe and the hammer, so the feedback that you get in your index finger is precise and deliberate. You can literally feel every time a round is about to go off, and it's difficult to explain beyond that. The only caveat that tends to break your spirit is how quickly you run out of ammo. 17 round mags are just not enough for this speed demon. It's kind of like giving a Hellcat a 10-gallon gas tank, and it just doesn't make sense. I would love to see Laugo introduce some sort of mag or extension that can cap you at 20 or more rounds. Aside from that, there's almost nothing that you don't fall in love with. The grip texture is outstanding, and the deep cuts in the slide give you ample traction. Learning to deal with the unique skeletonized slide takes some getting used to for sure, but it comes after the end of your first trip to the range. The hefty weight keeps it as flat shooting as possible while not being heavy enough to become cumbersome. The iron sights are phenomenal, but I'm not a fan of Laugo's proprietary red dot. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I just feel like they missed the mark to have it match the pistol aesthetically. Instead, I opted for the Sig Romeo 3 Max, which I feel is a better optic, but it also blends better with the look of the gun. Of all the 2011s I've ever owned or shot, the Hayes is by far the best. Putting these two head to head gets you very mixed results depending on who's behind the wheel. You can make the argument of either of these being the best shooting pistols you'll ever experience, but for me, I keep coming back to the Alien being just a hair better. And it's because of the slight edge and speed, along with the unique nature of its recoil impulse and lack of muzzle flip. There's just no other pistol experience that quite adds up. If I had to keep one, I'd reluctantly say that it'd be the Alien. But because I'm not in that predicament, I can happily say that you can't go wrong with either. If you enjoyed this content, leave a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends. Hit that notification bell to be reminded when new content is available. Until next time, stay safe, and may God bless the Republic.